Did I just see this correctly? Did we all just witness All Might getting assassinated? Well, it's been a while, but chapter 211 My Academia has been released. So in this chapter, we see what the big three professional heroes have been doing, as well as, of course, our boy Deku doing solo work. Now, with that mentioned, let's see what occurred in this chapter, as well as giving my thoughts on this chapter, including on the major event that happened at the end of this chapter, which I'll go over soon. So the chapter starts off with a group of jailbreakers causing havoc in a public area. And who's there to clean these lowlives? Well, you guessed it's number one hero Endeavor, who's on the case. And we see there's one criminal in particular who has a nail gun support item, having to encounter this, and Endeavor manages to put him down easily, and soon afterwards the police were able to take them away. Right after the incident, we see the other two pro heroes, Best Genius and Hawks, appear as Best Genius comments another jailbreaker who has no ties traced back to him, which could only mean he's probably talking about either Shiraki or All For One. Endeavor being there along with those two saw a pipe being thrown at him, and we see an angry group of protesters telling the heroes to get out of town. One of the protesters shouts out if these heroes didn't let the villain Shiraki and his followers get away, none of these jailbreakers would never have come. Hawks tells Endeavor to come to the vehicle, while leaving the scene another protester shouts out that Shiraki is after someone other than the heroes, claiming that Endeavor is still keeping secrets from the public. All the protesters start shouting and throwing trash at Endeavor and pro heroes, telling them to get out of here. And amongst those comments, someone said this towards Endeavor: Dabby's burned family victims were seen on TV, and as we all know, for the longest, Dabby is Endeavor's long-lost, presumed to be dead son, Toya. Once all the heroes got to the car and drove away, Hawks called the pro hero Headshot to continue the investigation of the Liberation Front. After the call, Best Genius asks no progress. That said, Hawks asks Endeavor it's best for them to be a few kilometers away from All Might and the others. Endeavor agrees that they should work separately a little longer, so that Deku won't be burdened any more than he is. Knowing that this idea of Deku working alone was Deku's idea as long as he baited a league of villains from hiding. That mentioned, Best Genius believes that he was All For One, he will go on offense since right now the heroes are in a tough position, dealing with jailbreakers across the cities. Endeavor jumps in stating what Deku said, that All For One's top priority is to take over Shiraki. Endeavor says ever since being defeated by All Might, All For One's body can only be sustained with equipment, and so once you put the last touches on Shiraki, you'll most likely take over his body. Hawks adds on that according to Garaki, the doctor who worked under All For One, said that Shiraki had to be used in action when his body was incomplete, and not knowing how they're moving All For One, but it's certain that conditions haven't been met to complete Shiraki's body for the time being. Knowing that Endeavor sees once that goal has been accomplished, the League of Villains will go after the quirk One For All, which has been bugging Hawks for a while, as he remembers that Deku and All Might told him that Shiraki will be able to accept the quirk if his body doesn't get stronger, which makes sense on a grand scale of things. However, he doesn't get why is it that All For One needs all of Shiraki's hatred. Best Genius believes it could be a strength of healing since the quirk All For One carries the spirits of previous users. Hawks comments that All For One has been chasing his brother for centuries, so for him to have a successor in Shiraki, it carries an extra amount of hatred, to which Best Genius questions Hawks if that hatred isn't enough. Hawks replies probably not, as he comments that that guy isn't always laughing, to which Endeavor says I like a heart to that statement. After brainstorming the possibilities, Hawks says anyhow, with not being able to trace a League of Villains and the captured serial villains not having intel, if it comes down to them avoiding a fight, then the heroes could take advantage of that. So Hawks proposes that they might have to get their manpower towards the investigation of the League of Villains' whereabouts. Then all of a sudden, Best Genius, with a surprised expression, reacts to a beeping sound that was heard. The car ride cuts there as it transitions to All Might driving his own car, and we see within his car he's using a GPS that's locating Deku. As he follows Deku within his own mind, remarks that Deku is still moving, even though he hasn't gotten much sleep. While thinking about Deku's well-being, All Might gets a brief flashback of his deceased sidekick, Sir Night-Eye. Sir Night-Eye in that flashback tells All Might to get some rest and sleep in bed. All Might was going to say something about Night-Eye until he gets a notification from his screen panel in the car that Deku's GPS signal has vanished from the screen. All Might shouts out damn it in frustration, but all of a sudden we see a small cylinder object being thrown towards All Might's vehicle. This cylinder object got close to All Might. It turns to be a grenade which exploded right on All Might, who was still in the car. And then we see Deku has been stopped from his tracks after something grazed Deku. We see this thing that almost hit Deku. It's a weapon that's now stuck in a building with a built-in microphone, who said to Deku, young boy in green. Deku stands firm while hearing what this person had to say, that they'll take Deku with them. And everything was going on, Deku knows that villains may be coming, and pretty much could tell that this villain didn't come out of blue, but is targeting him. Deku sees this individual connected with a jailbreaker is an assassin sent by One For All, and this assassin has been revealed to be that woman who was an escapee from the lower levels from the Tarturas Prison Break, and this woman is shown to be on the roof of the building with a huge sniper which is just attached to her body, which could only mean that this woman has some quirk that allows her to make weapons made from her body. So with this sniper rifle being used with her left arm alone, she wants Deku to follow her orders and she'll leave his limbs attached. And with that, we see in the background behind her, we see a guy with black hair, I assume, who has no arms and sitting down with his head down, not doing anything but standing there minding his own business as the manga chapter ends there. Jeez, yo, half of things just happened in the last few pages. And first of all, is All Might dead? To be honest, I believe so, because he was just thinking about his sidekick for a second there. And back then, if you remember, Sir Night-Eye warned All Might a long time ago after his fight with All For One. Sir Night-Eye used his foresight quirk on All Might to see his future. He reveals to him that All Might would die a gruesome death sometime in the future. And from what I remember, All Might revealed that story when Deku was still in UA. Deku asks him how long he has left before his predicted death, and All Might claims he'll see his fate in 1 to 2 years. With that said, it's well been over a year since that reveal. And though before Sir Night-Eye used his foresight in Deku and seeing that Deku was going to die to Overhaul, however, that didn't happen. And according to him, that was the first time that one of his foresight didn't come true. Now, with that said, I could say that All Might's already dead from the impact of the grenade. And let's be honest, no normal human could survive that type of incident unless you're the luckiest person in existence. And even if he somehow survives, All Might has to be at least crippled or heavily injured from that, which could end his co-op work with Deku. Also, another thing I want to talk about this assassin woman who has her sights on Deku. Now, I don't think we have her name yet, but whatever this quirk is, it's something related to making weapons with her body. So when I first saw this panel, it immediately reminded me of a familiar character from a different anime that shares a similar weapon making body power. And that person who I'm making a comparison with this assassin girl is a character from the anime One Piece, Baby 5. If you're someone who watched One Piece specifically during the Dressrosa arc, there's a woman named Baby 5 who has the ability to make shape weapons with her body, from cannons, machine guns, swords, to rocket launchers, you name it. And it's because of her Devil Fruit, which if you don't watch or know about One Piece, it's a fruit that gives individuals abilities depending on what Devil Fruit is. And in anime, she could turn almost her whole body, or either her whole arm or whole leg, into one of these weapons that I mentioned. And lastly, the last thing I want to cover in this chapter is that life is person behind assassin. Now, I didn't realize in the first place, and I had to reread chapter 297, where the first prison break occurred. In this prison, we see the same assassin woman and a bunch of familiar villains right ahead. But when the prison break was set in action, this woman went to this door and opened it. And from what I thought to be an exit, it turns out to be a cell which had the villain Overhaul could find in it. And yes, this was the same Overhaul that Deku fought and tortured Eri a while back during the Overhaul arc. And I believe this woman freed Overhaul on purpose, and seeing the comparisons of the black hair, no arms, and the same outfit from the prison, without a doubt, this is the villain Overhaul behind this assassin. And there's no coincidence that he's there seeing Deku once again after being released from prison. Now, with all those points covered, I hope you enjoy this video. And if you do, please give this video a like. And if you want, consider subscribing to my channel for more My Hero Academia manga content reviews. And see you all next time in the next video. Peace.